Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. Welcome to the Vee Academy. My name is Crumbrion, Professor Crumbrion, if you would. And today we're going to be taking a look at a wonderful game that we played on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live, and be happy to get your reactions to it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. If you want to follow me and watch games in real time, check me out on twitch.tv/Crumbrion. For now, let's go check out the game. Thanks for watching.
3, 2, 1, go!
Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another wonderful video. We have a pretty good banger for you today, actually. This is a little bit of a mirror match, kind of, but not really. So we're getting a bit of the old and a bit of the new. So we're playing our Peri-Peri Pult list currently into a Dragapult Dusknoir list. So a bit of pre-rotation versus post-rotation here. So a little bit of old, a little bit of new. And we don't start out very well here. We usually start out pretty abysmally here. We only have a single Munkidori in the active slot. Now, we are going second. So this is a bit spooky because our opponent does have evolutionary advantage here. So they're able to get Dreepies down, which means that if they play Rare Candy, they can Rare Candy into Dragapult the very next turn if they're playing Neo Upper, which they very likely are because it is a Dusknoir build and still a pre-rotation build. So they're very likely going to have some tools that we don't have because we're testing out we're testing out the metal of our Peri-Peri Pult list here. The Szechuan Pult list, as we're likening to call this one. So trying to test out and see where we feel like the list is settling, and this is a pretty banger game right here. So we do end up top decking Pokepad, which means we do slow down the inevitable here a tiny bit. We're going to attach the Dark Energy. I could have attached the Psychic to have the Psychic in the discard pile and save myself a Night Stretcher here, but we have the Night Stretcher anyway, so may as well use it. We know that we're going to have this hand, so we may as well make use of what we have here. So we're going to use the Night Stretcher either way to get the Psychic Energy back a following turn, so may as well get all that stuff in there now in case we get Budewed ourselves on this following turn. So my opponent here just has the Dreepies down. No energy attached for turn, but does get Hilda and does grab Neo Upper. So we see right away the ace spec of choice for my opponent is going to be the Neo Upper energy. Team Rocket's Watchtower. Get it out of our hand in case we get Ionoed or find some way to shuffle our hand. But we are in a pretty dire straits currently. We have Unfair Stamp in hand. So if Budew does end up going down, we have some kind of recourse to try and dig ourselves out of this hole. But my opponent's going to have a pretty hefty start here. Neo Upper onto Drakloak. Dreepy still in the active slot, 10 damage on Dreepy here. So top deck a Rare Candy for a Pokemon we cannot evolve yet. So it's just another itchy pollen turn. We have to pray, to sit here and pray that our opponent does not pull off an incredible turn here. So we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get to deal with. So the Recon Directive coming in for my opponent. Surprisingly, neither one of the sides here glitched. So neither one of us had the Drakloak glitch. So my opponent does show the boss's orders. This is just game. If he can retreat the Dreepy here, game will be over before it starts. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? We'll see. And no, they have to pass the turn. They whiffed the energy. Thankfully, we have energy in hand. We get to retreat Munkidori here. Back into Budew. Still in a very dire situation. No basics. We drew Drakloak off of that. So again, we're in a very bad position. My opponent has another boss. We are simply just cooked here. If we did not have that retreat, we are just losing the game on this turn. So it is going to be a Lillie's Determination. They did not draw energy, so they cannot retreat and boss this turn because they have to play Lillies. So thankfully for us, we were able to dodge a bullet here. They do get the energy off the Lillie's Determination. They could have ended the game a turn earlier. However, they got a little bit greedy and tried to make that play. So 30 damage onto the Dreepy, going to evolve to a Drakloak. So that is within Phantom Dive range, which is pretty nice for us. But we are unfortunately going to be on the receiving end of a Phantom Dive ourselves here in just a few short moments. So they're going to recon directive here again. Nice 6-card hand for my opponent right now, but we do have a little bit of an ace in the hole. We do have our unfair stamp. This is an emergency ripcord unfair stamp here. We have absolutely no way of how we can resolve this. So we have one Munkidori, and then we get the Troll Lillie's Determination off that. Of course, we have to go unfair stamp. We cannot, in any realm of the world, let our opponent have 7 cards on this next turn. So we do end up drawing into Torchic. We get Pokepad, and we get Lillie's Determination back in the hand as well. So this is really huge. We get 2 basics down off of that. Full 8 cards from Lillie's now. Massive value. Buddy Poffin is going to fill out our bench here. We're going to go full board of Dreepies. So we have 3 Dreepies. We have a Torchic down. We have an Ultra Ball. Now we're thinking here, if they do end up going into a Budew next turn, what is our options looking like, right? Like, what can we really do here? So we just have to end the turn. We're going to eat it if we end up getting Budewed here anyways, because we have Dawn. It's very likely they're just going to go for a Phantom Dive anyways, so nothing to worry about there. We're just swapping stadiums, nothing really big going on. Watchtower, of course, only one of in our deck. Jamming Tower doesn't really do anything for either. Neither does Watchtower. I mean, if they're running Blood Moon or Saluna, obviously it's a little bit worse for them, but they have now a 0-card hand. They're going to Buddy Poffin, and they're going to bring out a second Duskull. Now, interesting fact: we have not shown that we have Psyduck. We actually held the Ultra Ball and we kept an empty space there just in case they were playing Duskulls. We want to make sure that we have the space for Psyduck to make sure that we're able to do something on this next turn and kind of give ourselves a chance to play the game. So because we don't have any good Pokemon to pivot here, we're going to front up the Dreepy that has 30 damage on it. Reason being is if we evolve this one to a Drakloak on the bench, it's just going to be in Phantom Dive range. So this is the most easiest one to give up, so to say. So we have Combusken in hand, we have Torchic in hand. We can evolve one of the Dreepies out of range by putting it to a Drakloak. 10 damage is not going to be enough to take a knockout here. Now we do get an interesting thing here. So we got Rare Candy in hand, Dragapult off the Recon Directive. We're evolving the active Dragapult, and now this is to stop the bleeding, right? Our opponent has taken 2 prizes so far. We're in very dire straits. We can grab ourselves another Drakloak here. We're going to be grabbing Blaziken here as well. So we can grab ourselves a few different pieces here to give ourselves a chance. So we're going to get Psyduck off of this Dawn. We still do have an Ultra Ball as well. Now we don't necessarily want to put Fezandipiti down because we don't want to give ourselves any more trouble than we have here, and we already need the space for the Psyduck. So Fez is not coming out this turn. We get to Recon Directive here second time, and it's going to grab the Switch, because this Switch is actually going to become extremely important a little bit later in this matchup. So we grab the Switch here, anticipating that we're going to be taking damage on our active Dragapult. Very heavy damage. We have Blaziken ready to go. We just have to hold our hand here and hopefully it doesn't get too disrupted. But Psyduck being in play now means that they cannot utilize their skulls. So we do see a Dusclops here as mistake number 1 for my opponent, evolving to Dusclops here, and then going down to a 0-card hand here as well. So 2 Draklooks, they do get some draw here off of this, but now they're stuck with a Dusclops on the bench, and we're going to make use of that against our opponent here. We're going to punish them just a tiny bit because we have been planning a little bit of contingency. We're keeping an eye on their hand. They have a very small hand here. They have to attach a Fire Energy to Drakloak, going back down to 0 cards. They're going to have a 1 single card hand, 1 card. And if that 1 card is not something to get that Dusclops out of the active slot, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble here. So now we have to go. We have given up 2 prizes here. We're not giving up a prize this turn because of all the evolutions that we have made on this turn, right? Torchic, brand new, no damage. Psyduck, brand new, no damage. So biggest thing on their board right now, they have to target Psyduck. If you are Dragapult going into a Psyduck deck, this is something you're going to see very common from more advanced players. They're going to put all 6 damage counters onto Psyduck. They have 2 skulls presented right now on their bench. All they have to do is let me free up one spot on their bench, and then they can Howlucha, knock out Psyduck, and then they can fully utilize all of their skulls to the maximum. So we have a few different options of what we can do here. So we're going to start off with the recons, obviously. Good sequencing. You want to get the recon directives out of the way first. So Iris' Fighting Spirit is nice, but it's not what we need right this second, because we're going to be using boss's orders this turn. So we're going to grab the Fire Energy. One thing that you want to do in this Blaziken Dragapult deck is you want to aggressively discard energies. You want energies in your discard pile, much like Gardevoir wants energies in their discard pile, because you can use Seething Spirit to utilize that energy at any point in time. So we're going to go ahead and boss up the Dusclops here. Now, two things we could do. We could leave this Dragapult in the active slot if they have a way to retreat that Dusclops. We're just giving up a free knockout here. Or we discard the Fire Energy here. We have Switch in hand. We're going to Ultra Ball for a second Dragapult. We can get damage and start putting pressure onto this Dusclops and start threatening an attack. We're going to use that switch that we grabbed earlier. We're going to attach that Fire Energy, and we're going to Seething Spirit here. Now, we're not going to Seething Spirit to the benched Dragapult because we don't need to yet. We're going to take that Fire Energy and we're going to attach it to Blaziken, because attaching it to Blaziken here makes it so that now Blaziken is free from being stuck in the active by my opponent as well. So we're just going to go for a Jet Headbutt. We could have gone for Phantom Dive. We do not want to take a knockout this turn because we need strength of board. We need a stronger board to be able to avoid losing this game. So we're going to be taking this a little bit slower, challenging them to move that Dusclops when Psyduck is on the bench. If we free up bench space, then they can go ahead and they can, we could take out their Dusclopses, sure, no problem, but they can drop a Howlucha, knock out Psyduck, and that would be bad news for us. Bad news Ursalunas for us. So Blaziken is proofed from being stuck in the active from a boss's orders. It cannot be stuck because now it has an energy attached. In Seething Spirit, remove itself. No problem, we're good there. So now my opponent's going to be starting to remove targets from his board. He has to, because of the pressure that we're putting on now, he has to evolve that Drakloak with 0 energy on it, because that is a free knockout. If we boss up the Drakloak, we can take out both Draklooks, and then he is down to 0 card draw on his board, which is really good for us. But now we just have to play a little bit slower. We have to play a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical. So now we get a rare candy here as well, which is amazing because we still have a Blaziken in the deck. So what we're going to do here, we're going to Recon Directive, grab that Dark Energy. Having energy in hand is much more important right at this particular point in time. We're not going to be removing Jamming Tower just yet. So we're going to grab Fez. We're going to hold Fez in our hand. We're taking Drakloak out of the deck to have it there. Rare Candy into Blaziken. Now we have a double Blaziken board. Now we have 2 energy attached from the discard pile every single turn if we want to. And we have the energy attached from hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to Seething Spirit. We're going to attach a Dark Energy to the Blaziken to make sure that that one cannot get stuck in the active slot as well. So, and that's all we're going to do for turn. We're going to pass turn with an energy attached for hand. So if they do end up bossing, we can attach and still make use of those energies. So now they have to remove the Dusclops. We don't want a Jet Headbutt, because if we Jet Headbutt, it's going to enable some kind of a play like a Rare Candy Dusknoir. And then you drop Howlucha, knock out Psyduck, Dusknoir, take out Dragapults, and it's very bad news for all of us. Very bad news for our hero today. So we don't want that to happen. We don't want to be putting ourselves in a position. It's very much a very intense chess match right now. So we see the Fire Energy come down in Dusclops. This signals to me now I have to take an attack here. And the only attack that I have that's viable for me right now is I have to take out Duskull and Dusclops, because those are the 2 biggest threats on board right now. If they boss up Dragapult, then they're taking out Dragapult, they're taking out Psyduck, they go down to 3 prizes. Or they take 3 prizes, they go down to 1 prize, and then it's a lot more difficult for me, but then my board frees up and I have a bunch of 300 plus HP Pokemon that he has to deal with then. And I'm not going to put down a Pokemon that is not favorable for me. So we go ahead and Seething Spirit, we get the Phantom Dive going here. We're going to keep the boss's orders in hand. We're not going to be bossing anything this turn. We're going to be knocking out the Dusclops, and we're going to be knocking out the Duskull. And so this prevents my opponent from taking game next turn. It does not prevent him from doing a ton of damage to my board and decimating a few things, but we have some pieces now that we can start piecing together a win from this condition. So Munkidori is important. Dark Energy is important. All of this stuff, very important for us to have a key into this next victory. So there is the Hawlucha coming down. Again, if we had taken out the Drakloaks and this Hawlucha would have come down, we'd have seen the Dusknoir come out. Dusknoir takes out the benched Dragapult. The rare candy Dusknoir takes out my active Dragapult, and that's just the game. It's just over. They take 5 prizes in a single turn. I can't do anything about it. So this is the most counterplay that we can do. Important here that we put down Risky Ruins the previous turn, because Hawlucha is taking the 20 damage, which does put that in knockout range. For my win condition here, I don't necessarily need to take a knockout on Hawlucha here. It is helpful, though, to take another prize. So you see that the Drakloak is going to recon directive here again. They are down to 1 Drakloak at this point. Now they're down to 3 prizes, 0 Draklooks, because now they've evolved it to a Dragapult. They need to at this point because the other Dragapult doesn't have any energy, so they have to have backup Dragapults to be ready to attack. So this is a formidable board to go into here. Now we're going to see an Iono as well. So there goes our monkey. Unfortunately, we lose our monkey and our dark energy. So a little bit of a setback on what we're planning to do. But Lillie's Clefairy is going to be a linchpin in what we need to do here. So Risky Ruins is going away. Not a big deal. We don't care about that. We see an energy attach. Single card hand for my opponent one more time here. Single card hand. So we see Dragapult come down. And again, this is going to be a very interesting turn of events for us. So Phantom Dive does 200 damage on Dragapult. How do we come back from this scenario? He's going to put 6 damage counters on my damaged Dragapult. It is 300 damage on the bench, 210 damage to my active Dragapult. How do we dig ourselves out of this? Well, it starts with a boss's orders. We are going to boss's orders up Latias. We're not going to take a knockout here. We are currently behind in prizes right now, so he cannot countercatch. We cannot get countercaught by my opponent right now. So unfortunately, we have no choice but to take Lilies off that Drakloak. Wished it could have been something else. We do not want to put Clefairy down, number one. We don't want to put Clefairy down. We're going to retreat the slightly damaged Dragapult because we have 2 Blazikens in line here, right? This is going to be very cool. What we're going to do is we're going to retreat Dragapult. We want to give up a knockout. This is important. We need to release a bench space so we can get Munkidori and we can get Clefairy in play. So we are throwing out this Dragapult right now because we kind of need this Dragapult to get knocked out, and we need to forward a board state where it's okay if we lose 2 prizes. That puts our opponent down to 1. Blaziken is going to go ahead and power up Dragapult, and we are going to go take a Phantom Dive here, and we can take 1 prize. We can afford to take 1 prize. We don't necessarily need to because their bench is pretty clogged, but there's not anything they can put on their bench to help them with 1 single card that they have. So we're just going to go ahead and put that damage anywhere. 200 damage on Latias. This is important. This is key. Latias is 10 damage away from being knocked out. We grab Kieran, which is also an incredibly important card, so it's very important that we took out that Hawlucha. Kieran off of the prizes is going to enable a very, very cool move next turn, so keep an eye out for that one. So our opponent has a choice to retreat Latias here and attack into our Dragapult. Now, if he does, then he's just immediately giving us game, because he can only take out 1 Dragapult. I'm sure he's trying to wait for something here. He's trying to wait for a boss's order or something, because if he gets boss's orders, he wins the game on this turn, obviously, because he can Phantom Dive Dragapult, and then 6 damage counters onto the other Dragapult, and that would just be game. He just needs 3 prizes, and that would be it. So he passes turn. Very astute play from my opponent here. Very, very cool. So he wants, from what I'm reading from this, is that my opponent wants me to take a knockout on Latias, so that it opens up countercatcher opportunity for them next turn, right? If they get countercatcher, they win the game. If they get boss's orders, they win the game. So what we want to do, we're aware of that. We don't want to play into that, so we don't even have to do anything this turn, because we're not having any pressure to do anything right now. So what we're going to do This is a very cool play here. We have Munkidori in the discard pile, so Munkidori is going to come back out here. We need a dark energy. We need a dark energy somewhere. We don't have a dark energy. It's in the deck. It was ioned away. It's in the bottom of our deck, right? It's gone. Except, this is the fun part. Kieran that we took off of prizes. We're going to go ahead and get the Munkidori out here. Kieran that we took off of prizes is going to allow us to retreat for free. It's going to switch our Pokemon out. We still have 2 Seething Spirits. We want this Dragapult ultimately in the active slot. We want it there eventually at the end of his turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to use Kieran. We're going to use the first effect to switch our Pokemon. We're going to bring up Blaziken. Blaziken's then going to Seething Spirit to itself. With the 2 energy retreat cost, we're going to free up that dark energy that's on the Blaziken, retreat the dark energy off of Blaziken. We're going to promote the Dragapult once again here because we need to free up that bench slot. So instead of giving up a Drakloak here, which would just give our opponent game, now we get to Seething Spirit the dark energy onto Munkidori. Very cool, right? Adrenabrain, take damage off of the bench Dragapult. We're going to put it onto his damaged Dragapult that had the Neo Upper. And this is creating pressure because if my opponent continues to do nothing, we'll get to a point where we remove all of the damage counters from our bench Dragapult so that he cannot take a knockout on the bench Dragapult if he continues to do nothing. So he's going to Ultra Ball here, shows that he did not have Counter Catcher, which was very fortunate, but we had no way of knowing that. So he's going to Ultra Ball here, setting up for a following turn because he doesn't know that we have game in hand currently if he takes a knockout. So he's going to grab Blood Moon or Selena. Pretty solid option, right? Because if we take out Pult, all he has to do is hit something with Blood Moon. If we go down to 1 prize, he hits something with Blood Moon, it's game over, right? That's it. That's all. If we confuse the Dragapult, if we do anything like that, it doesn't matter. So we're going to see a Phantom Dive here, and this is going to seal my opponent's fate. Phantom Dive is going to take out Dragapult. It's going to miss a KO on Drakloak by 20 damage. No monkey on the field. I believe my opponent may have used all of the luminous energies available to them, or there might have been 1 prized. They didn't have access to monkey, so we're going to be whiffing KO by 20 damage on Drakloak, 2 prizes, and that's all she's going to be. All she wrote here. We get Clefairy onto the bench. Iris is Fighting Spirit a little bit too late, but it doesn't matter at this point. Adrenabrain, 10 damage, going to complete the knockout onto Latias. We take 2 prizes here. We have 2 Seething Spirits. We have 2 Blazikens, 2 Seething Spirits. That allows Clefairy to attack, retreat the Psychic Energy just to confirm the Psychic Energy there. We're going to see Seething Spirit number 1 go up here, attach to Clefairy. Seething Spirit number 2, go ahead and complete the rest of this here. Let's go. Chat is hype. And then boom, Full Moon Rondo, 360 damage. Even if they didn't put down Blood Moon, we're still hitting for 320. That is a knockout, and that is over. That is enough to take a 4 prize turn. We only needed 3. We take a 4 prize turn on that one in a match that we had absolutely no business being in. And I think this is a fantastic showcase of exactly how powerful Blaziken can be with Dragapult, with Clefairy, with everything that we've put in here. So take a look in the description below. I'm going to include the deck list that I've used for this one, and I feel really strongly about this deck list. We've been doing a bunch of testing with a lot of different tech. This one is more consistent. This one allows you to get Dragapults out more often, Drakloaks out more often, a lot more focus on that draw power. And then the Blaziken's obviously a 2-1-2 line. Beautiful. It has been fantastic. If you have enjoyed this, please be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to click that notification button as well. Check out the other videos and let me know in the description. Let me know in the comments below if you've tried out Dragapult Blaziken. If you've tried out my list or a different list, anything that you do differently, I'm open to it because I've been running this post rotation list. I'm loving it. I cannot wait until rotation. So very excited to see how this deck performs. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next video.